Hey everyone, I want to welcome you to Home and Loans with Elite Mortgage, where we want to go talk to different realtors, get to know them a little bit, what they do, and how they can help you guys out as customers. So today we have Jessica Vázquez with us. She's a owner of her own brokerage here in Jacksonville, Florida, Gold Key Realty, and just want to introduce her. See if you want to say a few words.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jessica Vázquez with Gold Key Realty of Jax. I'm a broker owner, and we have about 20 agents here in our office who are all willing to help buy, sell, or invest.
Okay, good. And just want to get our audience to know you a little bit. So who are you outside of being a real estate agent?
First off, I'm a wife and I'm a mom. I take pride over my family, over everything else. My family comes first for me. And then I work. My job is come second, of course, after my family. And I do the best that I can with all of my customers and clients, but with the understanding that my family does come first, as well as yours should too. So
Okay.
that's who I am.
Yeah, y para los que no saben, ella también habla español y sí la conozco un poco personal, salió con ella y su esposo, Rolando, que él hace aires, aires
Aire
acondicionados. Yeah.
acondicionado. Ajá.
Sí, muy buena persona, ella y su esposo.
Gracias.
Yeah. Y, well, you're one of the first people I've ever met in the industry when I was in insurance.
Oh, that's so sweet. I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Yeah.
We've known each other for a long time.
I know. Yeah. When I was doing insurance, you were one of the first people I've met, and that's what, like 5 years ago, I think now.
It's been a good little while. Yeah.
Yeah, and we built that relationship ever since then. So it's been
Yes.
great. But for the people that also don't know you, I guess what would you say they can get with you as far as you being an agent? How you can help them out with buying a house, and accomplishing their goals and their dreams.
Well, first off, what a client would get from me is attention. You get me 12 hours a day, so I'm available for my clients 8 to 8. I have personal hands-on service with all of my clients, whether you're buying, selling, or investing. You definitely get me personally as your first point of contact. Again, you get my cell phone number. I'm available from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. However, sometimes transactions always go after 8 p.m., so I am available then. But just personal service, you will get 100% honesty from me as well. I don't try to sugarcoat things. So if things aren't, if things aren't what you feel like they are, I always try to keep that clear and keep their goal in mind. I know buying a house or even selling a house is a very difficult thing sometimes for some people. And we always like to try to keep the end goal in mind for that client to help them service their needs.
Okay. Yeah. And what motivated you to be a realtor and service people in this way, right? There's a lot of ways we can help people out depending what jobs and careers we choose, but what motivated you to be a real estate agent and help people out this way?
When I purchased my first house, I was 35. I didn't have that hands-on experience. And I also wasn't taught how real estate can actually change someone's trajectory in their life. So I come from that perspective. We come from a very poor family. We struggled most of our lives. And I understand how sometimes real estate can change someone's life for the better to help them understand where their wealth comes from and how to build that generational wealth. So that's where I like to help people at, to understand what their end goals are, how we can change their trajectory of their life. And first time home buyers are some of the most wonderful clients that I have. And I love working with them.
Yeah. Yeah, they're great. I mean, we all have our own stories, but what do you think has been? And I'm huge on this, so I think problems happen, right? Problems are always going to happen, no matter what happens. But I think when a problem happens, it's up to us as professionals solving that issue, right?
Correct.
So, what do you think it's a story or a problem you saw that you're very proud of that you helped somebody overcome?
Oh, so many,
Yeah.
so many. I've helped so many first time home buyers overcome obstacles that they never would have thought would have been possible for them. And I mean, just recently we had a client who was set on a certain area. They were pre-approved for that area. and the amount of money that they wanted to purchase a house for. However, when it came time to closing, we were just a few days away from closing, and they needed extra funds to come up with. And I mean, we're talking $6,000. So it wasn't
Yeah,
like
it's
a
a
lot.
lot.
It
Yeah, it's a
wasn't a
lot.
little bit of money. It was
Yeah,
a lot of bit
yeah,
of
yeah.
money. And thankfully, we were able to negotiate that from the seller along with closing cost and all that stuff. So that was one of the, I think, most recent transactions that I was able to help out a buyer with. And that was so satisfying to actually help them get the house that they wanted, where they wanted, and under what they wanted. So
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah, 6,000, it's a lot. How come it was
that
that
is.
short again?
Well, part of the reason was they needed to buy down the rate
Okay. Two.
to and actual to qualify for the loan,
Yeah,
and they needed that amount of money on top of the closing cost and their down payment, and they just didn't have it.
yeah.
So in order for us to keep moving forward, we all had to chip in as lender, realtors, and seller. We all had to chip in to help the buyer get the home that they wanted.
Okay. And just curious, so like what, because that's actually very big. I hear that a lot, it happens, right? Numbers are not done correctly. So what happened from the lender side that there was kind of like sounds like it was a surprise at the end, a little bit?
It was a surprise at the
Yeah,
end.
yeah.
Underwriting hadn't gone through. We can scratch that, right? Okay. In order for them to be under their DTI,
Mhm.
that was an issue that came up at the end. It wasn't an issue in the beginning, but when it came time to closing, that's when it popped up. And I mean, we actually closed the loan in less than 21 days. So
Nice.
it
Yeah,
wasn't
that's awesome. Yeah,
it wasn't a long drawn out process, and it was something that was handled super quickly.
yeah.
So
So it sounds like maybe taxes or insurance are probably a little bit higher than what they were
taxes was a
thinking.
thing
Yeah,
too. Yeah,
yeah.
the taxes in that area, I believe they went up to 5,000 a year.
Wow.
So that was part of the reason
Yeah.
why too. So I'm glad you brought that up because I did forget about taxes.
Yeah, hey, that happens. That happens. Usually when somebody sends me a house and I see the taxes and I see like tax like $800 on a 400K house, I know taxes are going to be higher, right? So you have that conversation with buyers and with the agent as well. Like, taxes are probably going to be higher, but sometimes they could still be a little bit higher than what you estimate.
Right, right. And
Um,
that was the case in this one.
yeah,
So
yeah. So earlier, o sea, hablaste de cómo tú como realmente algunas cosas que los clientes y eso recibe como el beneficio de trabajar contigo. Pero yo creo que hay muchos realtors que pueden decir, o sea, que ellos están disponibles a los clientes, así parecido a eso. Aparte de eso, ¿qué más tú dijeras que tú tienes que otro realtor no, porque, no lo puede ofrecer? O sea, que sea único para ti.
yo por seguro yo peleo por los clientes.
Ujú.
Eso es el número uno, porque mis clientes es lo primero en las transacciones. No hay mucha gente que se puede decir que se pelea por sus clientes y yo trato de pelear por lo mejor de cliente.
Ok, sí, sí, definitivamente. Yo puedo ser testigo a eso, que conozco muchos realtors. Sé uno, no voy a decir el nombre de ella, pero una quick story. Hace mucho negocio y ella, otro prestamista que trabajó con ella me dijo que ella era el listing agent, and they had 5K in seller concessions to the buyer, and she didn't know. And she was a listing agent because she doesn't read her contracts.
Wow.
And she does millions of dollars a month in transactions. But
Wow.
if you have no idea what you're doing, you're not representing your client the best way possible.
Absolutely. Whether it's a buyer or a seller, you got to read those contracts.
Yeah. Yeah. So sí pasa.
Sí se pasa.
Yeah. Yeah. Ok. Entonces, te iba a preguntar, cuando, pues tú tienes tu propio broker, cuando tú buscas a realtors y eso, pues, o sea, tú estás tratando también ayudar a otros realtors. ¿Qué tú buscas en ellos? Right? To bring them onto your brokerage, help them out. ¿Qué tú buscas? Dice, ellos son un fit y nos va a ayudar a nosotros y a los clientes bien.
La primera cosa que yo miro al Realtor es que si tiene accesibilidad a aprender y tienes una mente abierta, porque muchas veces cuando yo hablo con los realtors que tienen mucha experiencia en este negocio, tienes una sola mirada,
Ujú.
como ve la cosa. Y en nuestro brokeraje, me gustaría que la gente se abre la mente a aprender diferentes maneras cómo se funciona para los bien de ellos y para aprender más, porque en este negocio hay que aprender algo diario.
Mhm.
Nothing is ever the
Yep.
same
See.
daily. So we are always trying to learn and better ourselves. So that's one of the number one things that I think I look at as a realtor when looking for realtors is whether or not they have an open mind. Can they be teachable? Can they be mentorable? Even though they may have a lot of experience, will they follow direction? How can I help them in that way? So that's really what I look for when I look for an agent. And whether or not they have a good personality. I want people who want to be realtors, not someone who is looking to make this a part-time position, or this field is in inundated with realtors here. So, a lot of people are doing this just part time. And, I focus more on people that can actually put the time into learning and bettering our business.
Yeah, it takes a lot.
It does take a lot. It really does.
12 hours a day at least.
At least, at least. Yep.
um, what's that statistic that it's like 2 million agents or something like that, but only like 10% or something that produce something like that. I forgot that. You know what I'm
There's an
talking about?
80-20 rule.
Yeah.
80% of or 20% of the agents do 80% of the work.
Yeah.
That's the rule. And the other statistic is that only 15% of agents make it past their second year. So there's an 85% failure rate
Right.
in real estate, and it's difficult. It really is. It can take a long time for someone to get a client, especially if they don't have that outgoing personality. They're not someone who can easily start up a conversation, who doesn't like networking, who doesn't, make connections with other agents. They have a high rate of failure because
Yeah.
they're not willing to take on that initiative. And when you do become a realtor, you're your own person. You're your own boss. You're your own social media manager. You're your
Yeah.
own office manager. Like, you do everything. You wear a bunch of different hats, and some people just can't handle that type of stress. So real estate is not for everyone, but I think it's something that everyone should experience once in their life.
Yeah, it's hard. I'm not a realtor, but it's hard.
It is hard. It really is.
Well, see, I think also a lot of people, we see this, that people think, oh, realtors make certain amount of money, LOs, right, whatever, and they think it's easy, but it's not.
They don't see the dedication that
Right.
goes behind
The
what we
behind the
do.
scenes, yeah.
They just see us posting on on Facebook or social media. We've had a closing,
Yeah.
but they don't see all the 184 steps that we had to get to just to get to that closing.
Yeah.
And that's difficult, especially when you have TV shows like HGTV who always are publicizing all these $1 million homes, and at the end of the transaction they've gained $100,000. We don't actually work like that.
Nope.
I wish,
Nope.
right? But we don't actually get $100,000 checks. We're not making money hand over fist. It's sometimes we go negative when we try to help a client get the house that they want.
Yeah.
So that can be difficult for some people getting into the business. And then, as a mortgage loan officer, everyone has a hand in our pocket.
Yeah.
Everyone tries to get us to buy their systems, get their leads, do this type of stuff
Yeah.
and that type of stuff. And all of those things cost money. So.
Yeah. No, that's true. That's true. And the other thing about those reality shows, and I saw this from a meme, but it's probably kind of true. And the meme was talking about how they want to buy like $1 million house, and they work part time at McDonald's and they can qualify.
Right.
Which that doesn't happen in the real world.
It does not happen in
Yeah.
the real world.
So I don't know if that's true or not, but it makes sense to a certain extent.
Right.
But what would you tell somebody, going back to agents a little bit, what would you tell somebody that wants to be a realtor, maybe even join your brokerage, what they have to do and how they can accomplish their goals?
So number one, they have to be a self-starter. Like, if they don't have that self-motivation to get up every morning and follow a schedule while not being told what to do, then they're going to have a very difficult time in even starting the process. Real estate is a self-motivated business. So if you don't learn how to wake up, get on your schedule, get in your emails, answer your texts, do your social media, and all the things that follow through with that to help you become successful, and you don't have anyone pushing you, like a significant other, your mom, your dad, or somebody in your family that actually pushes you to help you become a better person, I think it would be very difficult for someone coming into the business without that type of motivation. What else did you ask me?
Well, even if they just wanted to join your brokerage, let's say, or something like that, what advice would you give them, I guess, to even join your brokerage, like how you can help them out transition into real estate from wherever career they're coming from?
Number one is you have to understand that we are a community. I value community over competition all day long, because even though we are a lot of agents here in the Jacksonville area, which I believe we have over 12,000
Yeah, I think it's
in
like
MLS, 13,000
Yeah,
in
13.
MLS. Um, that doesn't include any of the commercial agents that aren't
Yeah.
joined or new construction agents. So we're probably around 14,000 agents just here in Jacksonville alone. But as large of a community we are, we're really very small. A word gets around, and so you have to have that understanding that we're a community. So we have to be nice to our fellow agents. We have to be willing to work together with each other to help us overcome something that could be a stumbling block in the transaction. So at the end of the day, we're just here to help the client and make the transaction be easy and smooth.
Ok, so hablamos mucho de, ¿sabes?, tu vida profesional y cómo tú ayudas a clientes y a otros realtors y eso, pero si no fuera realtor, ¿qué te imaginas haciendo?
I have a fascination with death.
Okay, okay.
Little unknown fact about me.
I didn't even know that.
I love forensics. When I started college, I wanted to be a forensic medical examiner. That's what I wanted to do. I still would love to do it. However, I'm super old now. To start the process, it would be too much.
I mean, you're not that old. I mean, look at the KFC guy. He was like 6 years old when he went to KFC.
I don't have that much time. But I did work in a funeral home for a little bit, and I love everything about death.
Interesting. A little weird, but interesting.
It is a little weird and interesting. I love the science behind it.
Okay.
And how they can figure out how someone died from just like the teeniest, tiniest thing that happens. So it just is interesting to me how that works. Don't laugh at me.
No, I'm not laughing. So, ¿qué es lo más como raro o emocionante que te ha pasado con un cliente? Que tú te puedas recordar y contarnos,
I mean, I take all of my closings personal. And when I close with a client, it doesn't just end the relationship there. Siempre yo mantengo en comunicación con todos los clientes que yo he tenido en los últimos 7 años. I consider them family. They always hear from me. They always get a card. They get my magazine. They get invitations to different client events that I do. So I feel like I take all of them personally.
Yeah.
And I love that they're all different, number one.
Yeah.
But they all hold a special place within me that I'm just like, wow, I helped that person do that. And that's so satisfying to know que yo puedo ayudar a alguien que nunca pensaba que iba a comprar. Mm-hmm. So that, I think, is just a blessing in itself that I'm able to do.
Sí, no, tienes razón. Creo que para todos los que lo hacen afuera, otros realtors y prestamistas, we can all agree that it's a fulfilling service once you get to that closing table.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Well, there's a lot of emotions, a lot of tears that go into it.
Yeah.
Blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah. Y para como acabar esto, ¿qué sería como una frase que te representa o te motiva a ti?
Community. Community is, I think, one of the words that is huge in my book. Not only community within the Realtors community, but community in where I live, serve, and work. I always try to be involved in a lot of different networking events, a lot of events for the public, charity events. So I always try to keep community in mind, because at the end of the day, that's what runs my business. So I always try to give back in that way.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. A lot of people don't give back to their community. So,
they don't.
Yeah. Mm-mm. Yeah. I feel like I even fall short on that one. I need to follow your example.
You're welcome to join us anytime.
Yeah. So this has been great. I just want to say thank you for your time. Thank you for having us here. It's been great getting to know you a little bit better. Always learning something about you. And thank you. So thank you for having us today. Appreciate your time and sharing your stories. Getting to know you a little bit better, and our audience as well, getting to know you a little bit better.
Thank you.
The one that's going to stick with me the most is the whole death thing. I'm not gonna lie.
Don't mess with me.
Yeah, she knows how to hide your body, so don't mess with her. But to our audience as well, just want to say she was our first victim, and I think this went pretty well. And there'll be a couple other victims coming up soon, and anybody else that wants to join and do this, share their experience, whether you're a realtor, client, more than welcome to. We want to make sure that our community is served the best way possible, and our clients as well.
Thank you for having me.